Well, hey, thank you for watching this video and thank you for your willingness to serve, whether you are a seasoned projection lyrics person or you are new. I first want to just say thank you for serving. And the point of this video is to kind of show how to set up Proclaim and to get it ready for a service. I probably will have to do more than one of these because try to get it all in one might be too much. But here we go. So first of all, I must caveat that all of us leaders are different. We do things a little bit differently. But I'll say that it'll vary from person to person. For me, I'll probably have my songs in a day or two in advance. For others, they may pick them out that day. And I may actually do this part of the work on your behalf. Even for other song leaders, if I'm around, I'll go ahead and enter songs into Proclaim so that they're ready to go. So that's a good thing and a bad thing, because the good thing is you don't have to worry about it, trying to scramble on Sunday morning. It's a bad thing because the more you would do that process, the better you would get at it and you'd be familiar with it. But I think everyone or almost everyone has access to Planning Center. So if you go into Planning Center, there's more than one way. If you see like the blue, kind of the parent program, you can put services.planning center, and then that will give you this green, which is what we use for actual song service. And then you can click on the date here for the plan. So you can see, and this is, so we have different tabs. You have the order of service, you have the teams, who's serving, and then you can have rehearsal times. We don't really do a lot with those rehearsal times. So this order of service is really what you're keying in on, and you can see if it looks like this, it's probably a good to go service. Let me show you one from Tim's just to kind of give you a heads up. Tim will like to kind of keep a list of songs that he might want to sing in the future. And so they kind of all pile up here at the bottom, and then he'll like drag and add to, and any of these songs that he chooses not to use, he'll just push to his next time that he's serving. So if you go in, if you're the person for when Tim is leading and you kind of see all these songs down at the bottom here, I wouldn't do a lot of work because those have not been vetted yet. So going back to this coming up week, I happen to be leading again. These are the tentative songs. We may get into rehearsal and decide to add a short little chorus or something, but for now, these are the songs. So this is a good list to go from. You can download Proclaim to your computer and get the credentials, and you can make changes and set this up from the comfort of your home before, so you're not rushing on a Sunday morning to get things set up. So the big thing about Proclaim is that it is cloud-based. So if you think of like a Windows Office, like Word, where you have a file and you save that file with a name and then you can go find that file, we have quote unquote files, but they are all on the cloud. So I'm going to click last week's service, and probably the most important thing let me just tell you this. I have not opened Proclaim once when there hasn't been a download ready to install. So you'll almost always get this little blue banner. I just always go ahead and relaunch. It will take a few minutes. It'll download whatever. I don't know if they're giving us new backgrounds or what, but they push software at least weekly, sometimes more than one time a week. It's not that big of a download update, like 20 seconds. I just go ahead and do it to keep it up to date. So we'll wait for that to happen. Okay, so this is our updated software. And I am a little bit concerned. Let me go open recent, let's say 630. Not happy with that. Okay. Well, it used to, and I don't know why it's not doing this anymore, but it used to give you a large blue banner right where I'm waving my mouse here that would give you a warning. And I don't know why that warning has gone away, but it would tell you, you are editing an old slideshow. Recommend duplicating the slideshow. If you just go in and change, so this date right here, 2024-07-07, is the actual quote unquote file name. So if you change this, all you're doing is changing the cloud file and you're going to overwrite this stuff. So what we want is we really do want a record of all of the song services. And I'll tell you why here, I'll show you why here in a second. But your best bet whenever you go to start making a new Proclaim file is to go to File, Duplicate Recent, and grab that latest one. And then it will, if you have this formatted as a proper date, 2024-07-14, it will automatically up this file name, update it to the correct one. And it'll also update which Sunday it is correlated with. So there's a little drop down date, and you can once that happens, now we can go in and delete these songs. If I had deleted these songs from the previous service, it would have deleted them off of that cloud-based file, and anything that we tweaked or we made different or we made special or we updated it, all that would be lost. So if we had put a new song, actually there is a new song, By His Grace. It was a new song we sang last Sunday. If I had just kept this as the older cloud-based file from 07-07 and deleted all these songs off there, the next time we wanted to sing By Grace, you would have had to manually enter that. So that's not good. All right. So you can right-click on each one of these and hit delete. I get impatient. So you can also just click on it, hit Shift on the keyboard, click on the last one. That selects all of them. And then hit delete on your keyboard, and it will delete all of those. You also want to check, does it make sense for the current announcements from last week to go on? And it does. All of these make sense for next week, so we won't change any of those announcements. Okay. So now we can start adding songs that we're going to sing this week. So I'm going to look back and see what we're songs. So the first one is Sing to the King. So we can say, add item up here on the menu, and then you're going to want to reuse an item, and you can see there's a keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-R, to reuse an item. So from here on out, that's what I like to use. I just Control-Shift-R on my keyboard. It pulls up the screen. It's faster than using this menu, but you can use a menu either way. And then just type in Sing to the King, Sing to the King. And you'll see all the different times that we've done it. And this was probably me. I go in and every now and then I'm like, I don't like that background. Maybe it's Chloe, maybe it's someone else. And I'll update that background. But it'll show you kind of the history of when we've done it. And this is important. So I'm just going to select this one. And you can see there's like different sections of this service on the left-hand column over here, pre-service loop. This is going to loop these automatically. So we don't want our songs in the pre-service loop. We want them in the service section. So you can just click and drag that down to the service section so it goes in the right way. Let me show you an example that I'm aware of. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-R on the keyboard, and I'm going to put Behold Our God in. Now, there are times when we sing Behold Our God around Christmas, and we like to have like a little nativity scene. So you can see one here where there's a nativity scene. There's a nativity scene here. We sang it in August, and I think someone kept the nativity scene. Maybe they didn't realize it. That's fine. I'm not anti-nativity scene. But then there are places where you can see it's just like this cloud, like majestic cloud. So knowing the date and you can kind of see, and you may not be able to see it from here, but since I know what these are, like I know this is like a little nativity cave here with a light shining on it. This is a little manger here. So knowing when we sing a song might change which background, and you can see there's other backgrounds here, and some backgrounds work better, and that's an aesthetic taste. So there can be different opinions, but I think some of them just are objectively bad, and so we kind of want to stay away from those. But being able to see the history might let you go, okay, it's Christmas again. Maybe we want to sing Behold Our God and kind of tell the people, look, here's Jesus born in a manger, and he is the God of the universe. So we're not doing Behold Our God next week, so let's get our next one, How Firm a Foundation. So I'm just going to type in How Firm a Foundation. And it's just pulling up. Not sure why it's taking so long. Okay, I'm just going to select that one. Okay, and this is kind of our normal one. So we're going to put that there. That's fine. And then I'm going to go back to this. You've already won. Control-Shift-R. You've already won. And normally the most recent one is probably the best one to pick, but that's not always the case. Let's see. You've already won. All things new. And just going over here, Come As You Are. Okay. All right. So those are the 5 songs that are on our planning right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So at this point in time, you would want to look and see, does this look good on the screen or not? And all of these basically look good on the screen. Let's say that we wanted to add a new song. Let's say we wanted to add, let's say there's a song that someone picked out that we've never done before. So you can, instead of doing reuse item, you're going to have to add a song here. And let's type in, They Will Know We Are Christians by Our Love. Okay. Oh, well, I guess we have done that one before. I was trying to pick one we haven't done. Let's see. When the Roll Is Called Up Yonder. Okay. So we've never done When the Roll Is Called Up Yonder. That's drawn that song back from my Baptist days. So When the Roll Is Called Up Yonder. So you can pick this. And we had different tags. So the youth group uses Proclaim as well. And I've asked Danny, oh, I don't see a youth group tag here. But I've asked Danny that if they go in and kind of really change a song, that they would use the youth group tag so it doesn't affect our worship group tags. If you know the key, you can pick the key. In fact, let's talk about some of the other things that are outside of Proclaim. So let's say we're in rehearsal, you're back in the sound booth, and someone asks, oh, can we get When the Roll Is Called Up Yonder in the key of, I don't know, G, whatever. You will go to Song Select on that computer in our church, sign in. The password should automatically fill in for you, so you should be good to go. Once you're signed in, Song Select is connected with CCLI, which is our licensing group. So you can just type in when the roll is called up yonder. Now, not every song will be in here, but most songs will be here. So we see this song is in here, and you can see it's got a lot of things here. This first little call out means it has lyrics. If it's in here, it almost minimally always has lyrics. This little flat sign means there's a chord chart. Normally we're not using chord charts. Normally we're going to use lead sheets. Sometimes for longer songs, the guitarist will want chord charts. But if the song is reasonably short, then we're going to want this next one, which is a lead sheet. And then this last one is like a vocal sheet, like for SATB. We'll have more stuff there. Most always we will be using a lead sheet. So unless someone asks for something different, if they're asking for music, go ahead and pull a lead sheet. You can just click here. It's going to open up with the lyrics if you click on the song title. But if you scroll over and click on the single note, it's going to give you the lead sheet. So you can see here's the key. It gives you a key in A flat. Let's say for some reason we want it in G. Just click on there and hit G. Now, I don't know why Song Select does this, but it always just puts this up an octave. With maybe a few exceptions, it does. But obviously, we're not going to be singing this high. So you want to go into this octave and just go down one. And then that will give you it in the octave that you want here. So if we wanted it in the key of G, we could tell it to have the key of G. We're going to put it down an octave. And then almost always you're going to print or download that. So if you know the key, you can go ahead and add that there. It was originally A flat, so I'm just going to put A flat there. And we're going to add that song. Now, this is what you're always going to end up with. You're going to end up with this text here, no background, and oftentimes there's a lot of text. Now, I know that, again, there are different sensibilities, different aesthetics about how we want to do this, but for our given situation, we don't have tall screens or tall walls on which to display. And so, especially for short people, sometimes they're dodging around people. So what we like to do is we want to bring this for this one, it doesn't really matter because there's so much you can't really tell, but we want to bring this text to the top and center it. So that's this key, once I select in this box, I can select this alignment or justification. Instead of having it being centered top and bottom and left justified, I want it centered left to right and top vertically. So you can tell that shifted that. But there's so much text here that it's too much for us. If you had huge screens at a big church, you could leave that much text up there. But we don't have huge screens at a huge church. We have some reasonably. So what I do is I will go in and like change how this is laid out. So when the trumpet, so I'm looking up here. So if I just hit return here, see how if I hit return here, it makes a gap here. But there's a space in front of this of. It's not a huge deal, but we want to delete that space off. And then we want every line to start with a capital. So when the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more. So if you know the song, you know that's kind of a natural break. So I'm going to hit return there, and that's going to push us into a new slide. So all of this stuff is still associated with verse 1. But verse 1 now goes across two different slides. And maybe you could even make some of this smaller. When the trumpet, you could probably make it into 4, but 3 is fine. And the morning breaks, kind of getting this natural, eternal, bright and fair, when the saved of the earth shall gather over on the other shore. And the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair. Okay, so maybe that's just 2. When the saved of the earth shall gather, when the trumpet of the Lord shall sound, and time shall be no more. And the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair. When the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore. And the roll will call up yonder, I'll be there. Okay, so you were just trying to think of like where is the natural breaks in this song. Maybe I don't like it being this long here, but I try not to do more than 4. So that's some of the, like, do I break this up again into when the saved of the earth shall gather over? And maybe this is an extreme example, but hymns sometimes are the hardest to get right. And the roll is called Up Yonder, I'll Be There. So we took that one slide, what was going to be one slide, and broke it into 1, 2, 3, 4 slides. And that means as the person hitting the slides in the back, you're going to have to be more on your game. So this does make it a little, you can't just put a slide up there and wait for 2 minutes while we sing through the full slide. We're moving through lyrics faster, but that's best for our congregation. So obviously when the roll is called up yonder, we don't need, when the roll is called up yonder, when the roll is called up yonder, when the roll is called up yonder. So maybe something like that. This doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So we would want to do that with whatever verses we're doing. So we would need to do the same process with verse 2, verse 3, make those different. But let's say, for argument's sake, that we're only singing verse 1 and verse 3, but we're locked, or verse 1 in the chorus. But what's showing is all of these verses, and it's showing verse 1, chorus, verse 2, verse 3. So how we change that, and you can see, if I were to... Let me see this. If I were to scroll across the bottom, you can kind of see the slides that it has lined up. So you can see here are the verse 1 slides. We broke that into 4 slides. Here are the chorus slides. We broke that into 3. Here's all of verse 2, all of verse 3. Let's say we don't want those. Well, how do we change what we're singing? Well, we do that by clicking this box up here, which means we're going to customize. And so now what's going to happen is we're going to get what we have down here. So really, you only ever need to type verse 1 once. We only need to type chorus 1 once. And then I can do, you might see V1. That will work. It knows what you mean by that. If there's only one chorus, it will know that C is chorus 1. But if there's more than one chorus, you need to put, but you could have, verse 1, chorus 1, verse 1, chorus 1, chorus 1. You could have whatever order of these that you wanted, that we wanted to do up here. And then that is going to make the slides. So here we see verse 1, chorus, verse 1, chorus, verse 1, chorus, verse 1, chorus, chorus. So that is going to do a number of these slides in order to make that work. Okay. So if you bear with me, so most of the time you will just add songs like we did, and they'll already be formatted. Occasionally you may have to add a new song. We talked about how we add that by going to add item song, typing that song in. If you're asked to print music, song select is that music. Once you get it added, you want to make sure it makes sense for us at CBC. So we want it justified center and at the top. and we want it to be not a whole lot of text up there, a reasonable amount of text. In different songs, we'll call for different things. Generally, I like for the text to be around 120 up here in size. So I'll hit 120. It's going to make that text larger. And then almost all the time, they're going to have this box up here. That box has a purpose, but we don't ever use it. And then I drag the top of these lyrics to start even with that box. Because remember, our screens, especially the two front ones, especially this one on the left where our band members are, there's things down there below. So we try to get the words closer to the top of the wall so that maximizes the people who can see them. It's not the best for aesthetics, because normally if you were just looking this like on this as a PowerPoint, you wouldn't want them that close to the top. But with our situation, people standing up while we're singing, we want to push that up to the top. All right, lastly, we want to add a good background. So in order to add a good background, we're going to hit background, browse media. This opens up a new window. And normally I just type in something that's related. So roll Call It Up Yonder. Normally we're talking about heaven. So I might just type in heaven and try to find a background that looks good. All right, so this looks good. We'll say this is our heaven one. So if I get this where you can see it, so I selected heaven, kind of gives me a preview. Some of them are actually movies. As long as it's not crazy distracting, we have sometimes that they, there's some animation to them. I was trying to see if there's one. I don't see one readily. So you can apply as smart media or apply as background. If you apply as smart media, it's probably going to change some of the font changes and the positioning changes that we've already done. So I would just do apply as background. So we do that. It's going to give us a new background. And now you're going to see, I picked this one on purpose because I knew we were starting with white letters. Sometimes we got to change the color of the letters. So what I like to do, so here we see this is our text color up here. And I like to always try to grab a color from the screen. So I'm going to grab this color. That purpley is not going to be dark enough, but it's in the family of the colors of the screen. So now that I'm in this family of the color, I can drag the circle to be darker. And I want it close to black, but not exactly black. That's how I roll. So I'm going to drag it down there. And so I think it makes a difference. Like most people are not going to be picking up, but if you have, you can make it all black, but I don't know that that's great. But if it's black that's like in the family of green, that's not going to look good on this background. So I just picked this like purpley color and then I drug it down to where it's almost black, not exactly black. Then you also notice that it has this outer glow. There are a few slides where I'm like, oh, that outer glow looks good. But most of the time, I'm not personally a fan of outer glow. That is what the default is. So I will almost always unclick outer glow and then add a drop shadow. So a drop shadow kind of gives those letters a 3D look. And we can go in and edit the colors for the drop shadow as well. I might want kind of in the same family as what my letters are. So I might pick the same purple again, but not make it quite as dark. So maybe drag it into this region. And you could stop there. I generally like my direction. You can see here on this S some of the changes that are happening. So if I go from 270 to 300, and then I normally go depth 10, blur 10, and there may be better options for that. Depth 10 seems a little bit too much here, so maybe depth 6, because you can see it updating over here. All right, so that, obviously what looks good is ultimately going to be the final test. So you can tweak these until you get something that looks good. All right, and so then that's good to go. And that's not a problem for this particular slide, but drop shadows are really important if you have a variety of colors. If you have some light and some dark in the background, let's choose a different background where that might be an issue. Oh, I like this heaven one. And this is even a video. Perfect. So you can kind of preview what this video is going to look like by this right here. And this drop shadow kind of gives you a surface against, so that the words don't kind of blend in. And it's not as important because nothing is too dark here. But if you had some darker things up here, then the drop shadow helps distinguish your letters from the background. Okay. If you get all of that, that is the most there is of setting up. You can, that will be that's 99% of what you're going to do. You can preview up here so you can kind of see what's going on. And this is good. So let's turn the preview off. We have gone to lyric scrolling. So you've seen that where like you can kind of see the next things up. We like that for a number of reasons. But it also gives you a little bit of a safety net. If you're not right there, the leader can see it. So just like we deleted them, we clicked here and we hit shift, click here. You can set this for all of them. So with lyric scrolling, we want to put the show credits on the last lyric slide. We're going to use lyric scrolling. And this is fine at 0.1. I like it to go a little bit faster. But this is just me being picky. I go down to 0.7, so it just scrolls a little bit faster once you click it. But if you select all of those, it'll do this for all of them at the same time. You can do that same stuff down here. So everything I just did is down here. Show credits on last lyric slide. Use lyric scrolling transition for 0.7 seconds. So now we go to preview. We'll see sing to the king who's coming to reign. So you'll see that lyric scrolling. And then if we can get to the last slide, you'll see this credit come up here. And then the next one will be the next song. Of course, we're not going to do, maybe we should do When the Rolls Call Up Yonder this Sunday, but we just added that just so you can see. All right, so hopefully that, I'm sorry this is 34 minutes. Maybe I'll compress it down so it doesn't take quite as long as I'm talking through some stuff. But those are the key things that you are looking for when you're setting up. And again, hopefully you can have time to watch this, work through this. The first time, especially for Kenya and Aaron, the first time y'all are setting this up, I'm happy to kind of be over the shoulder, kind of remind you where things are. But if you could watch through this once, it'll kind of give you a flavor of the things that you'll want to do. All right, thanks.